Hi, family. My name is Olis, and I'm a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm so honored to be here, and I want to begin my talk even before I qualify myself, just with appreciation and thank you. We are at the end of a calendar year, we're entering a new year, and it's a time for many of us, right, of reflection. And one of the things I really appreciate about how you have taught me to live my life is I live my life in a perpetual state of gratitude. And let me demonstrate that. Kev, thank you for being my brother on the road. Thank you for allowing us to have knockout, drag out fights, and we still love each other. Thank you for inviting me to speak. And for many, many people that I know here on the platform, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. And I want to thank all the people, right? Fill in all the people who make this meeting happen, right? Meetings don't happen by pixie dust. Meetings happen because before the meeting and after the meeting, people make sacrifices of their time, right? They make sure the Zoom room's paid for. They do the seventh tradition stuff. They make announcements. Meetings take work. And I guess I say that as a call to action for anybody that enjoys the fellowship and the soul feeding work of meetings that is not currently in a service position. I would ask you to reconsider that. All right. So my name is Alice, and I'm a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. My sobriety date is May 21st, 1987. Yep. 1987. I mean, I'm stunned by it. Here's the other thing I'm stunned by. Let me say this. I have a sponsor. Her name is Nancy C. out of Downing. Nancy knows that she is my sponsor. I sponsor people, men and women, mostly women. I sponsor people, and they're the light of my life. I don't want to. I should say that. I don't want to sponsor anybody. I don't want to be bothered. But they're the light of my life, right? They're the light of my life. I sort of have a home group, right? I'm claiming Never Too Early that meets on Sundays. Anybody that knows that meeting that the White Brothers run is a life-changing meeting. And I also do service for the Fellowship of the Spirit Tuesday night 11-step meeting. And I have the honor of being the booker. And it's my favorite job in Alcoholics Anonymous, where I am, some people call it a speaker seeker. Like, I love that job. And I love that job in part because I have grown to understand my spiritual malady. The thing I suffer from is that I am selfish and self-centered. And the way that I stay out of the way is I like a job that's in the background. People that know me know I don't like to speak. I don't even know why I say that anymore because nobody cares that I don't want to do it. People still book me. I don't know why. But I don't like to be spotlighted. I really like the work that's behind the scenes because I feel like it less is in the way of the sunlight of the Spirit. That when I can serve without any credit or anything, that it puts me more fully in the sunlight of the Spirit. That's what I think. But I'm obedient to the God that I serve. And so I was asked to be here, and here I am. Thank you, Kelly. So let's just get to it. So I'm gonna tell you my story, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. But I want to do it in the context of a small reading, if you will indulge me, from the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, if you would indulge me. So let me say that there are some things, anybody that's new, or anybody that's not so new, but is not living in the joy and the freedom that we are promised in Alcoholics Anonymous. Let me just give you 5 tips that matter to me that I think can change your life. I don't care how long you've been around. One is, I have a sobriety date and I treasure it, and it is my most important possession. And when I tell you I would fight a grown man in the street, I'd get into a prize ring. Like, I love my date, May 21st, 1987. And I don't let anything separate me from that date. My second tip is that I need a guide. I need a person that can help me understand this new bold world that I've entered into, the spiritual path of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's not a stop drinking program, folks. It's a live right program. And when I live right, I don't need to drink. Matter of fact, the Amazon boxes slow down, right? And we call those guides sponsors. So I usually tell this little story, so let me get it out of the way. I'm a traveler. I love traveling. And countries will call my name. Like recently, Ecuador called my name. I'm going to go to Ecuador. I don't know why Ecuador called me, but Cambodia called me in the past. And I went to Cambodia. Cambodia is stunning. If you don't know about the Khmer people, a great civilization. And I get a guide, and the guide is going to take me to the temples. They have some mind-blowing temples. And the guide says he's going to pick me up at noon, and I think, well, you're a lazy bum. You know what I mean? Noon, what are you talking about? And when the guide picks me up, the guide says, I take people at noon because all the tour buses are gone, and we'll have the temple to ourselves. And sure enough, we get there, and it's us and one other guy. And it was this profoundly spiritual experience. We walked through the temples and he explained the reliefs and the significance of the numbers, and it was beautiful. And I would have missed all that if I'd gone without a guide. And that's the truth here in Alcoholics Anonymous. If you try to do this deal without a sponsor, without a guide, you're going to miss the beauty of it. You're going to miss the power of it. So my second tip is get a guide. Again, we call them sponsors. My third tip is to have a home group, a group that you're accountable to that's accountable to you. Now, I'm the crazy girl, so I don't really do well with a group that meets once a week. That's where I am right now, but Lord knows that's not where I need to be. My first home group met Monday through Friday. I need a group that meets all the time. Previously, my home group was the Bronx Big Book Study, and I really like a meeting that meets every day because I need that. I need every day. That's what I need, right? But get a group that's your group, your tribe, your people. That when you're not there, they call and say, where are you? That when you log on, they're like, hey, good to see you. That the sense of belonging that we get in Alcoholics Anonymous is no small feat. It ain't the whole deal, but it's one part of the triangle that makes life work. The fourth tip that I have is get a crew, a posse, road dogs, whatever you want to call it, a sober network. A group of people that you call that call you, that you know, that know you. Not the friends that when you call them, they're like, ooh, I can't believe that happened, right? You need the friends that are going to be like, I can't believe you did that. You probably owe that person an amends. People that are going to tell me the truth. Why? Why? Because I can't see myself. I think I'm always right. I think I'm always right. That's part of my disease. I think I'm right all the time. Crazy, the crazy. And my friends, real friends, tell me the truth. I had somebody call me the other night and they were talking and talking and talking. And when they stopped for a breath, I said, well, why do you have that resentment? I don't have a resentment. Yeah, you do. Now, because they can't see it, just like I can't see it when I have it. But people who are in my posse, my crew, my sober network, they can tell from how I talk where I'm at spiritually. My final tip, it shouldn't be the final one, I should have 6, but okay, is to get yourself a service commitment. Get yourself a service commitment. When I first got here, I thought it was a stop drinking program that I was here for a while. And I was like, oh, it's a Find God program. I mean, maybe, right? But when you really, really, really get all the way in, you find that this is a program that you find joy by giving joy. You find joy by being a joy maker, right? That I get the thing I most want by giving it away. It doesn't even make any sense, but there it is. And so find a way to be useful to other people. Find a way. The neighbor, shoveling the snow, giving somebody a ride to a meeting, buying somebody a meal after a meeting. Find a way to be useful to God's children. Whatever you think God is. The Orishas, Odin, Hamdu Allah, whatever you believe in. Find a way to serve the other souls. Here's my bonus tip. Ready? Don't come to a meeting Alcoholics Anonymous without a pen and a pad in your big book. That's the pro tip. Do not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't do it. And I've been here 3.5 decades. I don't do it. Okay. So I'm going to read off page 275, I'm going to tell the rest of my story. After I read off page 275. Page 275. Come on, page 275. Okay, page 275 is keys of the kingdom. Now, almost all of us say keys to the kingdom. No, that's not what it is. I'm already in the kingdom. I don't need the keys to it. It's keys of the kingdom. And this is Sylvia Kay. People think it was Marty Mann, but Sylvia Kay is the first woman at Alcoholics Anonymous to achieve long-term sobriety. Big ups to Sylvia, right? And Sylvia has this beautiful story, but in the story, there's this one paragraph that I love, and I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to talk about what I think it means and weave my own story in. If that's not a traditional share, I'm sorry. This is what I got for you tonight. All right. Page 275. Go get your book. Okay. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, is not a plan for recovery that can be finished and done with, period. So let me tell you what I think that means. I think that means that it is a program of recovery, but it's not a program of recovery that I'm ever going to be finished with. And this is the thing if I don't say nothing else, if you don't hear nothing else, freedom is not free. Freedom's not free. And what Alcoholics Anonymous, what the spiritual principles of Alcoholics Anonymous offers us is joy and happiness and freedom. And the power to set other people free. It's extraordinary. But it's not free. You got to work for it. Okay. And it's not ever done with. It's never finished. Because the more work I do, the more freedom I have, the more joy I have, the more peace I have, the more power to set people free I have. Man, you stick around and you really do the work, and you could just talk to people and just pull a card right out. Somebody called me the other day, said I've been to 13, I think she said 13 treatment facilities in 7 years. Them is expensive big books. Them is expensive big books, right? And she talked, and you know what I asked her? I just cut right to it because I was getting my hair done. Is my hair lovely tonight? Okay, I'm sorry, we're recorded. So I asked her, why are you mad at God? Because when you've been around for a while, you're able to see it and cut right to it because the program's never finished and done with. Okay, second sentence. It's a way of life. I didn't know this when I got here, and if you don't know this, I want to share this with you. I got to Alcoholics Anonymous and I was 26 years old. I've been here 36 years. I'm 63, just to save you doing the math. And I thought that I was going to come and add Alcoholics Anonymous to my life. You know, I had a life, and I wasn't coming to, I came to surrender. I didn't even come to surrender my drinking, to tell the truth. I just came to get the consequences off of me. But after I was here for a while, I was like, oh, I have to surrender my drinking. And I was mistaken. What I have to do is surrender my life. That's what I have to surrender. My sex life, I got to give that to God. Because guess what? God knows anyhow. I have to surrender my finances. Who wants to do that? Right? But it turns out that the more I surrender, the more I get. It's a way of life. At this stage, Alcoholics Anonymous is the foundation for my life. It's not an adjunct. It's not like I've got this life and I added Alcoholics Anonymous to it like an appendage. Like it literally is the foundation for my life. I live this way. And the challenges contained in its principles is great enough to keep any human being striving for as long as they live. Whew, Lord, is that true? You know, we're in the 12th month, and so we're in the 12th tradition, right? A lot of us are talking about the 12th tradition, right? Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, right? Like it ever reminding us to keep principles before personalities. Like, what does that mean, right? There's a principle that'll keep you struggling for your whole life. Let me tell you some of the things it means. I got to be nice to the people I don't like. I sure do. In the live meetings, the stinky person in the back of the room who's breathing on the cookies, and they got a bunch of germs on them. They smell bad. They've probably soiled themselves. Yeah, I got to be nice to them. Absolutely. The person who might be, I'm sorry to say this, a pedophile or a sexual offender, they deserve a seat in Alcoholics Anonymous as much as I do. I ain't got to like everybody. Because the third tradition, the traditions are connected in the same way the steps are. I don't have to like everybody, but I have to love everybody. I am responsible for being the hand of Alcoholics Anonymous. And it doesn't have any condition on it. Oh, when I like the person. Oh, when we share politics. Oh, when we're of the same gender. Oh, when we're of the same race. Oh, when we're of the same class. No. I am the hand no matter what. That principle will keep you striving for the rest of your life. Oh, yeah. There are many principles. The principle of integrity, of honesty, of kindness, of self-sacrifice. Okay, third sentence. We do not, cannot outgrow this plan. The book says earlier, right, in the first 164, chiefly written by Bill, who denies that, but chiefly written by Bill. It says that, we're not saints, right? It says that we're after spiritual progress, right? Because we can't outgrow this thing. I'm never gonna be perfect. I'm never gonna be perfect. If you think I've been here 36 years and I got here at 26 and I haven't made more mistakes in sobriety than I made drunk. If you think I've not made all the mistakes, name the mistake. Gossiped about people, slept with somebody I wasn't supposed to. Name them. I did that, right? Because I'm growing along spiritual lines. And here's the thing, for the old timers, I think one of the disservices is that we don't show the new people how we sweat. And then when they sweat, they think they've done something wrong. No, boo-boo, we're going to sweat. Lives. I think it's page 13. The bill says that, there's certain trials and low spots. Not maybe a trial, not maybe a low spot. Certain trials and low, they're certain. Health issues are going to come up, financial issues. I'm going to get a career thing. I'm going to get, I don't know, fired, cheated on. These things are not going to swing my way. And that's okay. Because here's what I've learned. Another pro tip. Every time fear comes up, every time heartbreak shows up, every time disappointment shows up, it's an opportunity for me to lean further into my relationship with the God that I serve. It's an opportunity to grow. I think of them now as breadcrumbs, that they lead me to the power. They lead me to the power. Okay. As arrested alcoholics, I always think that line is funny because she doesn't mean handcuffs, people. So this is what happens. And it talks about this, I think it's certainly in the 5th step, right? But again, in the 10th step, right? Like the taste is out of my mouth, which is amazing. I drank against my will, and then suddenly I don't have to drink anymore. All I could do was think about drinking, and suddenly I don't have to drink anymore. I look up, and then I haven't even thought about drinking in a minute. How'd that happen? Right? And so the desire, the obsession, the compulsion has been arrested. Not me. The compulsion has been arrested. Isn't that amazing? It says, as arrested alcoholics, we must. So, we always talk about it's a program of suggestions. We must. There's a bunch of musts. We must. So this is what I think about the suggestion, the way we talk about it. If you would like joy and freedom, I suggest that you do the steps. I suggest that you learn how the traditions are alive in your life. I suggest that you learn the concepts. and you make yourself of service. That's what I suggest. Now, if you don't want what I got, you ain't got to do that. But if you want what I got, you got to do what I did. And what I am, everybody that knows me knows this. I'm just another bozo on the bus. And it's the struggle bus, by the way. It's just not any bus. It's the struggle bus. Let me say this. I'm in the process. Everybody that lives in the Atlanta area hit me because I'm moving to Atlanta. So I'm in the process of looking for a house in Atlanta. And, I'm 63. I'm by myself. I don't know if it escaped y'all. I'm Black. That has its own set of realities, maybe not in Alcoholics Anonymous, but in the rest of the world. And I'm out there in the world fending for myself, and I don't come from stuff. So if something goes wrong, I don't really have a safety net, right? I've got what I've built in my life. And I'm out there and I get scared. I don't get scared often. I get scared. And I called Ralph. I love Ralph. Y'all know Ralph? I love Ralph. I called Ralph. And I was like, oh my God, it's, grifter land and and the people and somebody could take advantage of me. And he was like, Olis, who's going to take advantage of you? And I had to laugh at myself. Like I am the do all the research, Google everything, go look at night, kick the tire girl. I'm not like, oh, okay. I don't, and it doesn't matter what's real. It matters how I feel sometimes, even if I have zero evidence. And I have to remind myself of this. Here's a gift. Everybody in the Hollywood squares, everybody in the sound of my voice, recorded or live, has a 100% survival rate. 100%. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every drunk, every relapse, everything. You survived it. 100%. And so there's no reason to believe that God doesn't have me. God's got me. But it doesn't mean I don't get scared. And when I get scared, it's simply an opportunity to turn to God. So what do I need? And these are the lines I love. We must have a program for living that allows for what? Limitless expansion. I'm born and raised in New York City. I am the third of 4 girls. My mother was a sporting woman. She ran a house of ill repute. And I grew up in what people call a life, right? And, don't feel sorry for me. Like I had a very exciting, very interesting, very colorful life. And it positioned me to be comfortable anywhere in the world with anybody. I didn't learn that in Alcoholics Anonymous. I am comfortable in the world with anybody. I don't have any judgment about anything. Whichever decisions you make for you, that's between you and God. It suits me perfectly to be of service in Alcoholics Anonymous. But let's be honest. The odds were not with me to be here. The odds were not with me to be on my 3rd passport. The odds were not with me to be in a position to be able to be a property. The odds were not with me. But here I am. And I now have a life of limitless, what did it say? Expansion. Unlimited joy, unlimited freedom, unlimited peace, unlimited usefulness. Just unlimited. I and you, as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous in good standing, can go anywhere in the whole wide world and have a family. Anywhere in the world and have a family. People that'll come get you. People that'll make sure you're okay. People that'll share that. I hit Harold L. I'm gonna just put Harold on blast. And I was like, Harold, you in St. Louis? And he's like, yeah, Alice. And I'm like, I'm thinking about coming to St. Louis. And he was like, just give me a heads up, let me know when. And then he texted me back and said, and if you need a place to stay, come on. That's Alcoholics Anonymous. That's Alcoholics Anonymous. Limitless expansion. Okay. Keeping one foot in front of the other. I want to tell this story. So I get to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I think I'm smart. I'm 26, I've got a degree, and I just come here to dry out. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a new hairdo and a new outfit, a new job, probably a new relationship. And you know what I mean? It's going to all be lovely. In my mind, I've got it all planned out. right? You know what I mean? Like Patty's laughing, right? It's the delusion, right? Because one of the things that happens in our head, my head, is I think, I got this. Now I'm down and out. I'm down and out. I'm down for the count. I always think of it like this. I'm a drunk laying in the gutter and I'm judging people's shoes as they walk by, right? Oh my God, they have all those cheap shoes. I'm laying in the gutter though, right? But in my mind, I can never really see where I am. I think it's going to be different. It's going to be okay. I got this. Delusional, fully delusional, right? And so I get to Alcoholics Anonymous and I joined this home group. The Rap at Noon in Oakland, California was my first home group, and Monday through Friday group. And I come in and you could, you've been around for a while. You know what I'm talking. You know the people they think they just passing through, right? But they let me be the chip person and a literature person. You can get the cake for birthday day. They let me do all that, right? They give me an H&I commitment. They love me up. They help me feel a sense of belonging, right? And I'm there. In hindsight, I realize it doesn't occur to me that you can drink again, which is odd because I never planned to stop drinking forever. But in hindsight, I realized that I was surprised. The guy came in the room and he said, I'd been there a few months. I hadn't seen him, so he must have been new, right? That's how we think. And the guy says he had 10 years and he relapsed. Shocked me. I was stunned. When you got a couple months and somebody has 10 years, they're like a god. You're like, oh my God, how did you do that, right? It's just mind blowing. I was like, Nancy Reagan was in the White House and she was like, just say no. And I'm like, she's a liar. She's got all the good weed for herself. Like, I couldn't even believe it, right? It's inconceivable. So the guy says he has 10 years and he relapses. And my newcomer reaction is, what? You could drink again? And so they told me, ask the guy what happened so it doesn't happen to you, because it scared me. And I was a boogaboo. I'm like, what happened? What happened? What happened? And the guy told me a thing that changed my life. He said, you can only coast one way, downhill. So here's a wake-up call. If you're not active in your recovery, you are active in your relapse. That's just the truth of it. If you're not active in your recovery, you are active in your relapse. Let me be away from y'all a little while. And I start constructing a whole imaginary world where I'm God. And I'm deciding how things ought to be. Yeah, it's the crazy talk. So when it says here, keeping one foot in front of the other is essential for maintaining our arrestment, I always think of that guy. You can only coast one way. If you don't have a service commitment, if you're not reading somebody's book, if you're not active in your home group, if you're not hanging out with us, if you're not doing any kind of spiritual work, you're not maintaining your arrestment, is what I think. Do I do all of that all the time? Absolutely not. I am the laziest person I know. I really am. I'm the laziest person I know. But I'm scared, and in a good way. Fear's not all bad. I do enough to keep myself out of trouble. I sure do. I sure do. Because I don't like trouble. Okay. Others may idle in a retrogressive groove. Fancy language there, Sylvia K. Right? The normal people. Now, let me talk about me. I come from an era where you would go, anybody put your hand up if this is true for you. You ever go to the parties where the people didn't have a liquor license, but they sold liquor? So what they did was they sold you a drink ticket, and then you take the drink ticket and you turned it in for liquor. You remember those parties? I remember going to those parties. That's right. Hey, Jewel, I remember going to those parties, right? And getting home, and my friends had drink tickets. I want to fight them. Because how do you leave liquor somewhere? I don't understand. It's like the people who lose their glass. Well, how do you lose a glass with liquor in it? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. First of all, why is the liquor in the glass that long? It's just, so I am not a person who can be in a retrogressive groove. I can't be in a groove moving backwards. I cannot. Now, the other people the people who came home with drink tickets, the people who can lose their glass, the people who can order the second glass of wine and be like, oh, I'm feeling tipsy, I'm going to stop. Those people, they don't have to be on the spiritual path. They don't have to make amends. They don't have to admit how they've done harm. They don't have to write inventory. They don't have to answer the phone when it jangled day and night. They don't have to do that. They would be wise to do it because it leads to joy and freedom. But they don't have to do that. I have to do that. And if you're here, you probably have to do that too. And what does it tell me? Other people, the normal people, they can idle. They cannot move. And they can stay in this groove that's going backwards without too much danger. And then here it is, comma, but. Retrogression can spell death for us. Now, I want to talk about, for me, what I've experienced in Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been here and experienced spiritual death. I've been here and withered. I've been here and withered. You know, I was a member of, I told you, my first home group, and a lot of people that went to that meeting also went to a Sunday morning meeting, a step discussion, because, you know, I come from an era of not the big book, right? I come from a 12 and 12 era, and the region that I was in the time I got sober. And one of the guys that I was friends with in the meeting said something to me that was so devastating. I was in the middle of a move from Oakland to New York. And when I got to New York, I didn't like the meetings, and my trust in Alcoholics Anonymous was shaken by the thing the guy said to me. I mean, I was shook that I fell out of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a dangerous place to be. It's a dangerous place to be. Now, I've had the experience of not being active in Alcoholics Anonymous for years and not drinking. We call that sobriety, right? I'm not no fun. I'm not no fun. I'm not useful to me, let alone you. I'm unkind. I revert back to who I was when I got here. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, unemployable, unkind, unreliable, undependable, just on. And what, for me, this death that I can experience isn't just a physical death. And I think it's a mistake for me to be working with someone and lead them to believe that the only death the book is talking about is physical death. I think that there's a spiritual death. There's a not feeling, living on page 52. Come on, y'all, living on page 52 in the bedevilments for the new people. Page 52 in the chapter We Agnostic talks about what does it look like for the spiritual malady to have a hold of you. Problems in your personal relationships, a feeling of uselessness, self-pity, a prey to misery and depression, can't make a living. That to me is a spiritual death. When I've had the sunlight of the Spirit. Yeah. However, and then Sylvia brings it home, it's not as rough as it sounds. And this sentence is so complicated. I really love this sentence. However, it isn't as rough as it sounds, as we do become grateful for the necessity that makes us toe the line. I'm going to stop there. Here's a consideration. Can you think of anything other than the work, spiritual work that you do in the program that you are in? Because some of us are in multiple programs. That you're grateful for the necessity of doing the work, right? Most things that I have to do that it's necessity, I'm not grateful for that. I'm not grateful for nothing. I have to do it? No, I don't want to have to do nothing. But I'm grateful for the necessity of towing the line in Alcoholics Anonymous. When I get uncomfortable, when I get afraid, when I get angry, when I get resentful, when I want to isolate, when I want to withdraw from you, when I want to punch you in the throat, I'm grateful for how uncomfortable that makes me, because that discomfort gives me this necessary for me to turn to the tools. It's necessary for me to turn to God. Now, if it just, I got angry, resentful, all those things, and I didn't have a path to joy and freedom, that wouldn't be fun. But what I have as a path to joy and freedom when those things come up, they're invitations. I see them now as invitations. And we find that we are compensated for what kind of effort? A consistent effort, not a perfect effort, a consistent effort. And I want to say, for anybody that's wondering, and a lot of people sometimes hit me and appreciate me for saying this. I don't have to want to, I just have to do it. So if you're here and you don't want to answer the phone, you don't want to speak, you don't want to sponsor, you don't want to do service, you don't have to want to. You just have to do it. There's no requirement that you want to. You have to be willing, not wantful. You just have to be willing, right? And this countless dividends, right? We find that we are compensated for a consistent effort by countless dividends. So I want to spend the rest of the time that I have talking about these two concepts that are big for me in this paragraph that define my recovery in many ways. The concept of limitless expansion and the concept of countless dividends. So limitless expansion is about my ability to be more and more open to the blessings that I already stand in. It's not about having more. It's about being more aware of what I already have. And my capacity to do that is limitless. You see, I'm in a warm house. I've got food. I'm not getting carpet bombed right now. I'm not being assaulted. I'm not chained in somebody's basement. I'm that wherever you are right now in your life, the next consideration that I have for you is, what are the blessings that you're currently standing in? Because for me, limitless expansion is not about changing the material world. It's about changing my interior, my internal life. That's what limitless expansion is for me. I want to talk about, let me stay here for a moment. Sometimes we have things and we don't appreciate them. Some of us got here and had a bunch of stuff and drank right through that. And so let me say this. Your bottom is where you stop digging. Your bottom is where you stop digging. I got here with all my teeth. That was the standard, by the way. I got here at 26 years old. And I heard this woman, I got here in May, and in Labor Day, I think it was Labor Day. I think it was Labor Day. There was a big roundup that used to happen, living sober, and in San Francisco. And I went. I'm a loner. Like, I went by myself. I didn't have any money. They were like, "We don't care. Come back. Here's a free registration." God love Alcoholics Anonymous, man. God love Alcoholics Anonymous. And they were like, "Come back for the main speaker." So, I roamed around and I went into workshops. As a new person, a roundup is like overwhelming. But I go back to the main speaker, and this woman has gone on to the big meeting in the sky. And she said, if you're an alcoholic, you shouldn't drink. That made sense to me. I grew up with seizure alcoholics. I grew up with females that seized up. And then she said, and if you're not an alcoholic, then not drinking should be easy. That changed the course of my life, folks. So if you're here wondering, if you hear my voice and you're wondering, do I belong here? I'll give you the test that got me into Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't drink for 90 days. And if you drink in the 90 days, don't even worry about it. Just start your count all over again and pay attention to how long it takes. And what that did was it allowed me to see how hard it was for me not to drink. And people who are not alcoholics are not struggling. They just stop. I don't know how they just stop. And I couldn't do it. And so this notion of limitless expansion isn't about the things outside me changing, right? That awakening that if you're not an alcoholic, then not drinking should be easy, drastically expanded, rapidly expanded my life in an instant. And nothing outside changed. My perspective changed. My understanding changed. I should be careful to point out here that I do not believe that this is a program of learning. Yeah, I can tell you what page something's on. I absolutely can, right? But that don't keep me sober. That don't keep me happy. That don't keep me sane. It's not the learning, it's the seeking. Which takes me to the last thing I want to talk about. I think that countless dividends are really the return that I get from the seeking. So a dividend is an interest that I'm paid, a benefit that I'm paid from an investment that I make. And what is the investment that I make? I come to meetings when I don't want to. I answer the phone when I don't want to. You know what I mean? I do stuff I don't want to. Everybody that knows me knows that my favorite number of sponsees is what, y'all? Come on, say it. 0. They know. 0. I'm perfect sponsor with 0 sponsees. It's beautiful. But that's not the number God gives me. And I say in my mind, I'm not going to take anybody else. And then a person calls and says, I'm dying. What am I going to say to that? Here's some stuff to do. Call me back at this time. Here's some stuff to do. Here are meetings to go to. Call me back. If they keep doing what I say do, I'm going to take them. I'm going to take you through I'm going to take you to freedom because somebody took me to freedom. And so this notion of countless dividends, I cannot begin to tell you countless, all of the benefits that I've gotten as a result of being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous in standing. I'm going to take out the word good, just in standing. That I have a sponsor, that I have sponsees, that I have a home group, that I have a service commitment, that I mostly answer the phone, that I mostly don't punch you in the face, that mostly I do that, right? That what I get from that, and then I'm done. I believe that bondage of self is when I'm trapped in my perception. What happened to me? Who did what to me? What I didn't get? Somebody else got the promotion. I said hello and you didn't speak. What I perceive. And I think freedom from the bondage of self is the ability, which I have to work to get, to move from perception to perspective. How about that? Take that thought to the bank. Because what is perspective? I'm no longer standing in myself looking out at you. I've pulled away and I'm looking at the overall situation. See, that's freedom from the bondage of self. Why do I talk about that here? Because countless dividends can be happening and I don't even see it. When the man with no shoes that's complaining about I don't have no shoes meets the man with no feet, oh boy, not having no shoes don't seem so bad after all. And everybody's got a hand that they've been dealt. And I want to look at your hand. And I want to talk about how many cards you have and what card you got. Face cards, I got number. How I know it's not a number card game. That this notion that I know what's best, it turns out, my final thought, that some of the worst things that have happened to me are my greatest assets. They're the greatest blessings in my life. It turns out that countless dividends means that I understand nothing ever, not molestation, not abuse, not abandonment, not betrayal. Nothing happened to me. Everything happened for me to make me strong, to make me compassionate, to make me empathetic. That everything in my life has prepared me for this moment. And I'm grateful for all of it. All right. I hope that was enough talking because I'm talked out. Thank you guys again for the opportunity to be of service. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And I pray upon each of you a joy and a freedom, a heart, a servant's heart, to open yourself up, crack yourself open, to give joy and freedom to someone else so that you can know it. Thank you.
Woo! I wanted to do it, Ric Flair. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. The chat is open, everybody. Let's unmute real quick. Not real quick, come on. Unmute, come on, thank Olis, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Bless you.